So it's that time of year again, the holidays, when vegans find themselves most likely surrounded by a bunch of non-vegans in a family gathering. We've all been there. There's no way to avoid it really, because as much as we would like to think that veganism has taken over every sane person on the planet, it hasn't. We still have a ways to go. And chances are we have family, friends, people who just haven't caught on yet that veganism is the only way to live ethically and to sustain the earth, which is now in a crisis because of climate change, which is, of course, caused primarily by animal agriculture, which is something that apparently our president-elect thinks is a hoax. We're in trouble, people. Anyway, getting off subject. So, what do we do? What do we do when we are at these great gatherings and we are the only vegan there? Or chances are we have our significant other who's also vegan, because, of course, why would we date somebody for longer than, I'm sure we all have different time frames, but longer than, I don't know, what is it, a month? 6 weeks before we meet a non-vegan and we start to tell them why they need to be vegan, and then if they still think that it's okay to slaughter animals, and eat them and wear them, how do they get to hook up with a hot vegan? That's not gonna happen. So I don't know, my limit would be somewhere between a month and 6 weeks. And at that point, if I haven't convinced them that being vegan is the only ethical way to live, then let's face it, I don't really want that person in my life in that capacity. You hear what I'm saying, right? I mean, come on. A month is a long enough time to tell people about, how animals are being, on rape racks, and how they are, still alive when they're being, boiled alive, and when their throats are being slit, and how they're, gasping and fighting for their last breath, all while, people treat them like property and machines, and act like they don't have any pain receptors. I mean, how long can we really go on with that? But again, I'm getting off topic. Anyway, the holidays, what do you do? Well, there's so many things to do, but I'm going to try to keep this brief. Number one, call ahead. A vegan is coming. Oh my God. What does that mean? Make sure that the host knows what a vegan is. That is to be really specific, because people still get a little bit confused. Don't worry, honey, I made you that vegan meal. Just serving chicken tonight. Or they make you a bunch of sides and they think they're doing something really great, and it's got butter or milk. A lot of people just don't get it. So you have to sort of explain it. Well, I don't eat any animals at all, like fish or poultry or, dairy or honey. You got to go through it, because a lot of people just don't know, and let's be gentle with them, because look, we didn't know. Right? Most of us grew up eating meat. We didn't really realize, what was in every single ingredient. And even now, when we're at the supermarket, we're still looking for gelatin and things that aren't, usually the first or second ingredient. So give people a break, first of all. Don't go in with guns blazing. Secondly, be prepared that you're probably going to have to answer a lot of questions about where you get your protein. And do you get enough vitamin D? And how in the world are you gonna, maintain your bone strength when you don't have, dairy in your diet and all of these things? And you can answer, of course, the truth is that, dairy actually leaches calcium from the bones, and it's why a lot of kids grow up with ear infections, and all the, a lot of people are lactose intolerant. And you can go and you can explain why, we're probably going to live 10 years longer being vegan, and they should come over to our side because it's so much fun, and, our hair is shinier, and our skin is clearer, and we're thinner, and, you can go through all of that. And then you should also be prepared physically. Don't make it difficult on the host. You want to wow these people. You want them to be like, oh my God, that's vegan, that's insane. Come with a tofurkey. Come with gravy made out of mushrooms and not with body secretions and bring delicious vegan dessert, you know, some vegan cheesecake or some really great apple crumble or something delicious that they're like, whoa, that's vegan? They won't even be able to believe it. And then, of course, come armed with some of your stories about why that big slab of meat was, let's face it, if it was from a pig, that pig, as we know, and by the way, this is proven, was smarter than their dog, their beloved dog, and smarter than their 3-year-old kid. You can tell them how chickens, you know, how they can recognize 100 other chickens' faces. Tell them stories that take the image of the animal away from being a piece of property or a slab of flesh to having a soul, to having a life, to having feelings. That's what you want to do. And if you watch any of my videos on YouTube, I always have tons of those stories because it's so important that people understand the lives of these animals and see them as individuals. You know, tell them about the elephant in Africa that, you know, went looking for food and ended up crumbling a house around him because he didn't know his own size, and then all of a sudden there was a baby in that house and that baby was crying in the crib, and the minute that that elephant realized that he had destroyed the house and that there were pieces of the house in the crib and the baby was crying, that elephant stopped everything, stopped looking for food, stopped everything, and took his trunk and used it to pick off debris away from that baby's crib. Tell them these kind of stories. You know, and you can do it in an entertaining way, and you don't have to be the militant animal rights activist that you are typically 100 times a day. You know, you can sort of be a little bit more gentle in that situation because people are going to meet you, you know, from where they're comfortable. They're going to meet you at the pace that they're comfortable with. And we want to fast track it. God knows I want to fast track it. And I can be very loud and aggressive and militant, but I can also tell people in a way that's digestible, in a way that they can sort of understand it. And I also am very prepared for people that are going to react in an aggressive manner or feel like they have to get into a fight with you or something, because let's face it, vegans are mirrors. And most people don't like the reflection that's being sent back to them, right? Because basically what they're seeing is, oh yeah, I'm living my life selfishly. You know, I say I love animals, but I'm eating animals, I'm wearing animals. That doesn't really, that math doesn't really work. That doesn't make me feel good about myself. And what are they going to do? They're going to turn that right back on you, chances are. So you got to be ready for that. You have to be prepared. And you have to remember that not everybody was raised vegan. I bet you weren't. I wasn't. My dog wasn't. So remember that too. And go in there with a smile on your face, armed with some really, really great information, some great stories. Bring some great vegan grub and have the best time that you can, knowing that no matter what, you're always vegan and you're always going to be somebody who speaks out for animals. And as Ingrid Newkirk says, we'll never be silent. But at a family holiday gathering, you can do it in a way that people are going to stop and think, you know what? That guy, that girl, there's something to that. And that food was delicious. And I think that maybe I'm going to think about going vegan. And then be their support, get their email addresses, and follow their journey. You know, be there as a friend and as a source of support, because we all need that. And at the end of the day, we don't need to make any enemies. We need to make friends and allies in this movement. We need to grow our numbers. So have a happy and healthy Christmas and Hanukkah. Turn everybody vegan. Fight, fight, fight for animals until every cage is empty and every tank is drained. Happy holidays, everyone. Happy holidays.